received a very nice positive message, and I wanted to share this message with the people out there, and also to answer the questions that this person asked me. Um, Once again, I stated in my other videos, I wanted to share the positive energy that I receive. There's too much negative energy out there, and it's really important for me to make the time for the positive energy, to spread it, and to also show my appreciation for these messages I receive. It really means a lot to me, and also it makes a difference, you know. When people share positive energy with one another, it just makes a better world, you know. So thank you for sending this message, and I want to share the message with other people and answer your questions. It says he follows me on YouTube. He's a 34 black male. I want to study martial arts, however I never took the first step. Always made excuses because of money, but I always had money for other things like you spoke about: video games, alcohol, weed, clothes, girls, etc. I've watched many of your videos, and they've helped me in more ways than one. You have amassed wealth of knowledge both in martial arts and the world. I would pay to go to one of your lectures if you ever held one in person. I'm going through a tough time, but decided to channel this into something positive. I want to study Chinese Kung Fu. Even as a child, I found it to be interesting, but it couldn't participate as a child. I just wanted to thank you for all the hard work you put in. I sent you this to thank you and to ask, at my age, what do you recommend? I just moved to San Francisco 5 months ago. I don't know anyone. I'm saving money to find a place, which should be a few more weeks. I'm looking at a few schools of Kung Fu here, and we'll check them out. However, I want to do as you and Bruce speak of and grow my mind, body, and spirit. I don't want to go to the watered down or MMA inspired places. I'm gonna check out 3 places I found with highly regarded seafoods. I'll update you. Do you do live questions and answers on your channel? Also, I wanted to send you this video. I watched it after one of your videos or lectures. He speaks exactly as you say and explains there's higher levels of the arts beyond the physical. The first minute is lame, but it gets better. Big ups to you, brother. You awoken a fire I let burn out by being a slave to this world, striving for materialistic things. I have opened up my mind, freed it from such attachments, and I feel very good and see my tough times changing for the good. I'll continue to watch and follow. Have a good day. God bless and be like water. Be like water. Alright, so thank you for the message once again. To quickly answer some of the questions that you asked. You said you paid to go to one of my lectures if I ever held one in person. I actually talked to, my woman about that, and maybe in the future I might do something like that. I think it's a good idea, and I think it'd be a great way to connect with other martial artists, other practitioners. I don't have that. I don't have that set up at the moment, but it might be something in the future, potentially, but not at this time. And what do I recommend? I recommend for you to meet the teacher and see if you connect with them. See if your energies connect, and see if whatever he's teaching is authentic. If you want to learn Chinese martial arts, then I see that you should look for a Chinese person that's teaching the martial arts and learn about, his culture. look at how much they value the fitness, you know, as the person, um, you know, does he value health? You know what I mean? Like, is he fit for his age? You know, does he value health? Is he fit? Um, the combative, look at the forms that they practice and see if it's something that connects with you, if it's the type of style that you want to represent, um, if it's practical in combative situations, um, or is there aspects of the form that is very beneficial for your fitness, um, the spiritual, um, see what type of principles the school is guided by, and whether or not those principles will be, you know, put into the practice within the school. You know, there's a lot of different elements involved, and you just always got to keep in mind that body, mind, and spirit, and see if the teachings kind of go hand in hand with what Bruce was teaching while he was alive. You know, just because a person's Chinese doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right teacher for you. You know, you just can't. It's just, you know, you just can't assume that every Chinese person could teach what Bruce was teaching or similar to what Bruce was teaching. You gotta, you know, you gotta be on the lookout. At least, you know, sometimes a person might not be able to fulfill all the aspects, but some of the aspects, and then you could train with the person for those benefits, and then complete the training, you know, to on your own study outside of the class to make it more balanced and holistic. Um, They said, do live questions and answers on your channel? You know, I think it would be nice, but at this moment, what works best for me and my schedule is having people, you know, just basically just write down a list of questions, whatever questions that you have, and send them to me, email it to me, and I'll go through the questions to see if it's good topics that I could speak about, and if it is, then I'll make a video response. That to me is best for my schedule, and it also just gives it an opportunity to share it with other people as well. You know, that's how I like to do it the most, because then I can do it on my time. Um, but as of right now, I don't have the live questions and answers. That's just not how my channel operates at this moment. I'm really busy training people and spending time with my kids and loved ones and with my woman and everything, and I don't really, um, you know, I don't really put too much time into the live conversations that I might have done in the past. Another thing is just basically properly organizing certain videos and having certain topics where it could generate more of an audience. You know, it just works better for my channel. So basically, writing down the questions and sending them to me is the best option at that moment. It's not necessarily, I'm not going to be able to go through all the questions, but I'm going to go through the ones that I feel um, where it's basically going to help the channel grow, and topics of which I feel are very important or relevant to other people as well. And you know, I do the best to answer some of the questions. Sometimes they run out of topics, things to talk about, so it's nice to get questions every so often. So, you know, just go ahead and send them over to me. Um, but yeah, finding the right teacher, you know, honestly, I think it's hard to find Chinese martial art teachers out there, like really Chinese martial art teachers. But Bruce Lee was Chinese American, so that might even be more difficult, where it's not just a Chinese person but an actual Chinese American that's teaching martial arts that is truly qualified. I think it's hard to find, you know. So if you're really interested in learning the Chinese martial arts, if you could find either a Chinese person or a Chinese American that is good at what he does and he teaches it, then learn. Learn as much as you can and supplement your teachings with Bruce Lee's teachings or whatever I have to share. And you have to put it together, and the movies that you've been inspired by that have been produced out of China, no matter it be House of Flying Daggers or Hero or Fearless or some of Jet Li's movies, Bruce Lee's movies, and we learn a lot from these movies and this expression from China and the Chinese people. Bruce Lee is just very unique, and it's we're never gonna have another Bruce Lee, but at the same time, his spirit is living within many of us, and some of us will be expressing aspects of his teachings in different ways, and you want to learn, bring it together and learn from the spirit, so Bruce Lee, was influenced by Muhammad Ali, so he never met Muhammad Ali, but he learned from him, from what was available. So there's things that you can learn from Muhammad Ali. There's the books. There's a lot of books from Bruce Lee to learn from. There's movies of Bruce Lee to learn from. Bruce Lee was a great follower of J. Krishnamurti, and there's a lot of books out there with Krishnamurti. So look into Krishnamurti's books. That goes into the spiritual component. I liked J. Krishnamurti, but for me personally, I prefer Osho's teachings, and Osho to me connects with me a lot more to a much higher level. So as far as my recommendations, I recommend Osho, and there's an immense amount of material out there in Osho. Bruce Lee wasn't alive during the time of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Being, in his boxing career. But as far as my recommendations, the way Floyd Mayweather Jr., the way that he boxes and what you see in his skill sets is something worth learning from. To me, honestly, I feel that the way that he boxes would be, he's pretty much the black version of Bruce Lee if Bruce Lee got into boxing, if you just look at the skill sets in boxing for itself. And those are the main, some of the main people that I would say to learn from. Remember, it's the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. So he was referencing the Tao Te Ching. So learn from the Tao Te Ching, learn from Lao Tzu. That is a huge component of not just Bruce Lee's work, but that's the foundation of the teachings of Tai Chi as well, is the Tao. And just the Chinese martial arts in general is guided by the principles of Tao. So learn from the Tao. It's very important. If you reference Bruce Lee's teachings, he'll also mention Zen, which is Japanese for meditation. So learn from Zen. There's a lot of books on Zen. All right. As far as finding a Bruce Lee, somebody who teaches like Bruce Lee, it's gonna be very, very hard to find, honestly. But if you do find somebody who resembles his teachings, even if it's not that complete, even though it's not complete, but even if it was half of his expression, half of the resemblance, then it's something that you could definitely learn from. When I was in college, I encountered, some great martial artists, and one of them was a follower of Bruce Lee and of Jeet Kune Do, and he would study the books, and he studied kickboxing and other martial arts, but then he was a follower of Bruce Lee, and he studied his teachings and got really good at the techniques. And I trained a lot with him. I learned a lot from him. So I think there are people out there that have been inspired by Bruce that will spar like him, fight like him, think like him, be fit like him. So you find people out there that are teaching the martial arts that where you see resemblances of Bruce, then they could be worth learning from, you know. Um, and you're not, it's gonna be difficult to find somebody that's gonna have everything all together, body, mind, and spirit. But if you find somebody that has some of the qualities, learn from that, but do the self-study on your own and represent that within your own practice, within your own expression. Because I think what happened with Bruce Lee is that he abandoned the idea of expanding his method of teaching with the Jeet Kune Do, and he just decided to go into film in order to express his art. And now his art has inspired millions of people in which to reach their potential in what they do. So there's no like legitimate path that you could go to where you could learn like to practice what he practiced. But you will encounter people who have been inspired by him in different areas of life that are good at what they do. So learn from the people that you connect with. So when you meet the martial art teacher, is he sparring or practicing forms the way that you could see yourself practicing it or expressing it? As far as his fitness is concerned, is he physically fit the way that you could envision yourself to be? His practice of meditation, is it a big part of his life? Does he live a meditative life? And these are elements that you gotta be aware of and pay attention to. So the elements of encountering a Chinese person that's actually teaching the martial arts, it'll be hard to find. But if you find it, then learn as much as you can. Pay attention to the things that are not being said. Pay attention to the yin training. Pay attention to the softer elements. Pay attention to the humbleness. Pay attention to the way of life. How they turn the martial arts into a way of life opposed to a sport about winning or losing. But those are some sources to go to. Study the Chinese philosophers. Study Sun Tzu, Art of War. Chang Tzu, which is the disciple of Lao Tzu. Lei Tzu, another disciple. Study the teachings of Buddha. Buddha's teachings are a huge foundation to the Chinese martial arts. Study the history, of the Chinese martial arts. And read all the books from Bruce and go to his references. Bruce Lee also referenced and he liked some of the teachings of Alan Watts. He's another philosopher out there, you know, that really got deep into the Chinese philosophy as well. So put it all together. Like there's a lot of people of different races that to learn from. We can't say that we don't learn from white people, black people, whatever. But honestly, there's just not a lot of Chinese teachers out there in America. And if you do find one, learn from the person as you continue to learn from the other sources that you draw in from as far as books and videos are concerned. And try to get deep into the spiritualness and the meditativeness within the martial arts that Bruce introduces, that essentially will lead you towards the deeper philosophies of the East in general, and that's where the key elements are. As far as the physical is concerned, I mean, it's just a lot of hard work. Getting stronger, getting faster, getting more flexible. The techniques, learn from the right people that have mastered the simplicity of practical combat. And that's what Bruce was the master of, and stay true to that. Don't forget that. And just keep working hard, getting better, and maybe one day, if you ever have opportunity, come visit over here, and we can connect in person and do a little training. But I think the people that are truly inspired by Bruce's work, as far as the martial art element is concerned, a lot of it is on our shoulders to represent it within ourselves, opposed to joining some organization or group, which is very unlikely. Very unlikely that they're going to embrace the teachings of which he was representing within his art. A lot of times you're going to have to embrace it within yourself and connect with other people who value those teachings as well. I've met a few people out there within my life that really have it in them to head in that path. But to meet a group of people with that spirit, it's going to be rare. But you could keep your eyes open and seek out what you can from what we have as far as technology is concerned. But if you can't find somebody with the qualities of Bruce Lee that to learn from, then it's up to you, to represent it within yourself and be the best, keep working hard towards being the best that you can be, and then connecting with others who are doing the same. And then we could come together and represent something more meaningful within the martial arts.